The Unlucky Tug. When Boomer says he's a jinxed tug, 10 Cents and Sunshine don't believe him. Then so many things start going wrong, they wonder if he is jinxed after all. Boomer's tug days are over, but thanks to the captain's good idea, Boomer ends up much happier, and the jinx disappears. One day, 10 Cents and Sunshine spotted a strange tug drifting outside the harbour. His name was Boomer. 10 Cents and Sunshine approached cautiously. He looked so untidy it seemed as if no one owned him. "Keep away," said Boomer. "Just leave me alone, please." "We can't do that," said 10 Cents. "It's dangerous." "So much the better," said Boomer. "We'll take you in," said Sunshine kindly. "Just leave me here," moaned Boomer. "I don't need help." "Why not?" asked Sunshine, moving in closer. "Because I'm a jinx. Bad luck," said Boomer. "Oh, rubbish," said 10 Cents. "There's no such thing." "Oh, no," said Boomer. "You wait. You'll soon find out." 10 Cents fixed up a tow line and they headed for the Star Pier. Captain Star would be sure to know what to do with him. Then Sunshine called out, 10 Cents, your tow rope is loose." 10 Cents spun round to see Boomer alongside him. "How did that happen?" he said. "Did you do that?" "How could I? The rope's still attached to me," said Boomer. "He's right, 10 Cents. It must be the jinx," giggled Sunshine. "Well, the sooner we get into Captain Star, the better." Soon they arrived at the pier. "Who see 10 Cents?" came Captain Star's voice through the megaphone. "He's called Boomer. We've only drifting and thought we'd better bring him in. Says his engine's not working." "You'll be fine," whispered Sunshine to Boomer. "Right, Sunshine, go and fetch the coal barge," said Captain Star. "We'll try starting him up." So, Boomer was refuelled and had soon worked up a good head of steam. "Try your engine now, Boomer," said the captain. The engine gave a wheeze, a hiss, and a cough, and stopped. But Boomer tried again, and with a groan and then a boomf, it roared into life. "Hooray! Hooray!" shouted 10 Cents and Sunshine. But their cries didn't last long. Smoke and steam poured out of Boomer's portholes and around the deck. There was a fire down below. "See what I mean?" said Boomer. "Pull him out!" said the captain. "Pull him out now!" 10 Cents still had a line connected to Boomer, which was just as well, because it would have been difficult to get in close. He took the strain and pulled Boomer out of danger. As soon as Boomer was clear, the smoke and steam stopped. "Well, look at that! The fire just disappeared." 10 Cents was surprised. "I told you, didn't I? I'm jinxed," said Boomer miserably. Then Captain Star's megaphone fell out of the window. "Has that ever happened before?" asked Boomer. No. Oh dear, Boomer, I think..." But Sunshine and 10 Cents were interrupted. "10 Cents, take that total lucky shot this minute!" A few minutes later, 10 Cents and Sunshine were on their way to the yard with Boomer. At first everything seemed fine, but soon Sunshine noticed something was wrong. He glanced at 10 Cents. "I think Boomer is taking our water," said Sunshine. 10 Cents stopped his engine and turned round to see. Sunshine was right. Boomer was sinking slowly. Water had already splashed over the deck. "Now, don't worry, Boomer," said 10 Cents, but Boomer didn't seem very upset. "Oh, I'm quite happy. I'm sinking. That's just what I wanted. Cut yourselves free. Save yourselves while you can." Boomer continued to sink lower and lower. Then he stopped, his wheelhouse and upper deck still above water. "Phew, that's lucky. He's come to rest on the old rubbish barge I sank a few weeks ago," said Sunshine. Boomer looked very miserable now. "No, the jinx is still here. All I wanted to do was sink and become a home for the fishes. But I have to land on top of an obstacle that won't let me. I call that a real jinx." 10 Cents went to get Mighty Mo, the floating crane, and a large barge for Boomer to travel on once Mighty Mo had lifted him out of the water. Mighty Mo moved into position and prepared to take the strain. "Get that barge under Boomer as soon as you can! He's heavy, and I don't want to hold him for too long," said Mighty Mo. Slowly but surely, the great power of the crane lifted Boomer out of the water. Then, suddenly, Mighty Mo's engine died. "The horses have jammed! You'll have to take the barge with you or travel like this," grunted the crane. "Just as I thought," mumbled Boomer. "Another jinx?" Sunshine asked Boomer. Tencent was cross that Sunshine was beginning to believe in the jinx. "Don't be silly, Sunshine. Pull that bodge somewhere and go and tell Captain Star what's happened. We must try and get this lot to Lucky's Yard before it gets dark." But Boomer was a heavy tug and they couldn't travel very fast. By the time they arrived at Lucky's Yard, it was dark. They would have to work by the strong lights of the yard. Everything was ready. The lights were on and Big Mac and OJ were waiting to take the cranes away when they were finished with. "Steady as she goes," said Tencent in a tired voice. "That's the raft up ahead, Sunshine," he said. Suddenly all the lights in the yard went out. "Get your own lights on, you two," ordered Big Mac. Tencent and Sunshine obeyed instantly, but then Mighty Mo's lights went out. Without his powerful spotlight, no one was sure where they were going. They had to keep going, for if they stopped, Mighty Mo would crush them. But even so, it was no good. There was a terrible splintering as the crane pushed forward into the tugs. Everything was quiet for a moment. Then, inexplicably, Mighty Mo's engine started up again, and the crane started to lower Boomer back into the water. Tencent and Sunshine peered through the darkness, trying to see what was going on. After that, things calmed down. Boomer was put on the raft and stayed in Lucky's yard for repairs. When Boomer came back from the repair yard, Captain Star thought he'd try again. He asked Boomer to do some barge work, shifting cargoes from one place to another in the harbour. It was a disaster. Every time Boomer tried to do a job, something went wrong. Then one day, he careered into the pier. Boomer would only take a few days to repair in Lucky's yard. The pier was a much bigger job. Captain Star began to regret taking Boomer in. After that, Boomer spent a few days working for Captain Zero, helping with the munitions contract. "Good luck then, Boomer," said Tencent. But as he spoke, Boomer's munition barge exploded. Captain Zero decided he'd made a mistake, and Captain Star agreed to take him back. "Bye, Boomer," said Zip and Zug. "If you want any help sinking, let us know." Sunshine overheard them teasing Boomer. "Don't take any notice of those stupid tugs, Boomer," he said crossly. "At least you don't mean to do any harm, unlike some tugs I could mention. Come on now, Captain Star is giving out the orders for the day at dawn. I wonder what he'll ask you to do." Together they made their way over to the Star Pier. The tugs were standing by for their orders. "Right, Hercules, down to the estuary to meet the Duchess. She'll be docking later, so I want you. Warrior, to see her rubbish is taken away with no problems. Big Mac, you're in charge of loading her with provisions. OJ, help Big Mac out. He's got a lot to take on board. And Top Hat, you'll be down at the railhead as usual," Captain Star barked. "Oh, bother! I never get to help out when a liner arrives," moaned Top Hat. "It's not fair." Captain Star took no notice and continued. "Tencent, Sunshine and Boomer. Where is Boomer?" The tug had hung back, but now appeared. "Right, you two, show Boomer where the schooner is. There are no engines to catch fire, no crane horses to go wrong, and no buoys to sink. Just plain sailing, we hope." "Very funny, Captain," muttered Boomer. "Come on, Boomer," said Tencent. "It looks as if this is your last chance." They got Boomer to the old wharf and found the schooner without any problems. "Good luck, then," said Sunshine. "No such thing," moaned Boomer, who was determined not to be cheered up. Tencent and Sunshine made their way back to the harbour for the rest of the day's work. "This jinx thing is all rather mysterious," said Sunshine. "It's beginning to give me the creeps." Later, Tencent and Sunshine were helping Big Mac and OJ when the fire launch brought in Boomer and the burnt-out schooner. "Boomer, what's happened?" asked Tencent in dismay. "Lightning," said Boomer. OJ looked all around him. "Lightning? On a beautiful day like today? It doesn't seem possible, Boomer," said OJ. "That fire launch subject didn't believe me either. He says I was going too fast and a spark flew out of my stack. I know it's not true, but I can't be bothered to argue anymore." Boomer sighed wearily. After the schooner incident, Captain Star decided he'd had enough. He told 10 Cents and Sunshine to take Boomer to Lucky's yard and left strict instructions that he was never to be used as a tug again, no matter what. 10 Cents and Sunshine felt very sad after they left poor Boomer all alone for the last time. "Bye then, old friend," said Sunshine. Boomer gave a sad little whistle. So they were very surprised when, a few weeks later, Captain Star told them to go and collect Boomer and take him upriver. "I don't like the sound of that," said 10 Cents. "There's a ship's graveyard up there, you know, full of rusting hulks." They prepared themselves for the worst. When they reached Lucky's yard, Boomer the tug was nowhere to be seen. Instead, moored by the pier was a strange-looking floating house. "Good morning, good morning, good morning," said Boomer's happy voice. Sunshine couldn't believe it. "Is that really you, Boomer?" he asked, amazed. "So you're a houseboat now," said 10 Cents. "Don't you feel a little silly?" "Not at all. It's what I've always wanted to be. Now, hurry up, you two. I can't wait to get to my new mooring upriver." On their way through the harbour, they met other tugs who gave the new Boomer a cheery greeting. Boomer looked so happy it was obvious that he was going to enjoy himself in his new place. "I hope it's a nice shady place with lots of trees. I want some protection from the sun in summer to stop my nice new paintwork from peeling off," said Boomer, almost to himself. 10 Cents and Sunshine grinned as they carried on. Eventually they came to the spot where Boomer was to be moored. "Oh, it's lovely," said Boomer. At this point along the river there were trees lining the bank. One of the largest cast a shadow across the space which had been marked out for Boomer. 10 Cents and Sunshine smiled when they saw the sign. It said, "Done tugging." "Home sweet home at last," sighed Boomer as 10 Cents and Sunshine pushed him gently towards his mooring. "Thanks for everything, you two," said Boomer. "I'm sorry if I got you into trouble." "No problem. Let's just hope the jinx has gone once and for all," said 10 Cents. "We'll come and visit you," said Sunshine, turning to go. When they reached midstream, 10 Cents and Sunshine heard a dreadful creaking noise. Turning round, they saw a tree crash into the water. "It's the jinx!" yelled Sunshine, but Boomer was laughing. No, no, if I was still jinxed, the tree would have crashed down on me, or worse still, on one of you. The jinx is gone." So it was back to the usual routine for 10 Cents and Sunshine, but Boomer had finally found his ideal spot and settled down to enjoy himself.